This is Alberta to Arizona. Hello, I'm Tracie Gray, real estate investor, with my real estate investor husband, who's also a real estate agent. He works for EXP, that's the broker, and Mogul Realty Group is the company that he works with here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And Devin has been doing real estate, well, investing for over 11, 12, 13 years. We can't say how long it dates us.
17.
It's been a
But
while.
anyways,
I thought you were
Doing
going to
real
add
estate.
baby daddy to the intro.
My
yes.
baby daddy.
Yeah.
That's right. Sugar daddy. Maybe add that one. And then, of course, we've got the beautiful Diane Brennan, professional real estate agent, down in the gorgeous area of Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona. And she's with Coldwell Banker, joining us today because we're talking everything to do with real estate. How you doing?
Good, good. And the differences between real estate and in the US and Canada, which is pretty different, right? The vernacular is a little bit different and getting to learn the different nuances with our videos. You can always look at them too on YouTube, all of our past shows as well, and look at the different topics that we tackle. How's the weather in Edmonton, first of all? Let's do a comparison.
It's cloudy today. It's not
Ah,
a, you were cloudy last time. We got your clouds up here now.
oh, good, good, good. Yeah, it's rarely cloudy here, but last week was definitely one of the weeks and stuff. We were at 97 degrees at 6 o'clock last night. So we're excited to get some of your weather. Everyone's like really, I got my fall hat ready to go on top of my Buddha here. As soon as the temperature drops. I know, don't we sound spoiled? But
Yeah.
it'd be nice to get some fall weather. All the girls here, as soon as we get to like 89, we're like all wearing our boots outside because we're pretty excited. I know you hate me.
Well, today it's actually this month has actually been very, very nice. I mean, it's still cooling off in the evening, but during the day it's getting up to 27, 28 degrees, which I believe
Oh
is
wow.
high 70s in Fahrenheit. Everybody's just simply been talking a lot about just feeling very blessed that we're walking around in summer weather, not a cloud in the sky, and there's weather chaos all over the rest of the world. Especially down east in Canada, and obviously Florida right now is getting hammered and all that stuff. So feeling very grateful and fortunate of what's where we are, and hoping for the best for everybody else, and hoping that everybody can get through things pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And great that you guys are getting weather, and we shouldn't be even complaining about weather. Now I feel guilty that I even mentioned it. But
Well, don't, because
thank you.
we're getting good weather for Edmonton. This was the nicest summer
Yeah,
that we've ever had.
yeah. I think it's no, it's we're blessed and grateful. Absolutely, it's something that we've been talking about it as well. Like, hey, wow, we've got great weather here, and it's unfortunate where the things that are going on elsewhere.
Yeah. So how's real estate? Are you guys, I don't know where my face went, but
Yeah, your
apparently,
face, it keeps flashing on. It's like
yeah, I
very
don't know what's
theatrical
happening
today,
here. We're
Diane.
having technical difficulties during our recording. So that's the universe telling me that I've got a face for radio and that you guys are going to see a black screen from now on here. So, how
Yes,
about,
never a good thing when people go, "What's with your face, Diane?"
yeah. Does
It's
it
just
hurt? It's sure
gone.
killing me. Ba bum bum. What? How's the market in Edmonton?
So we have our stats come out the beginning of the following month. So we'll have a much more detailed idea probably on the 2nd or 3rd of October. But where we are now, again, us realtors, we can have a pretty good sense of what's going on. Things definitely were dropping off July and August. It did feel like as soon as we went through the Labor Day weekend that things started to tick up a little bit. There was just because everybody gets back into the routines and has specific fall goals that they want to accomplish before we get into the Christmas time. So we are seeing an uptick on some buyers, and also we have some sellers that have definitely come out and said, I want to try to sell the house before we get into the Christmas season. So we think that over the next few months, we're going to have a much more gradual and almost leveling off, but still a slight decline in regards to sales and activities and pricing. I think everybody has just come to the realization that we're a long way off from the Bank of Canada's desired 2% inflation rate. We're sitting at 7%, and that actually is another drop, but highly attributed to gasoline prices. But in Canada, we're reeling with the fact that, especially in British Columbia, at $2.40 a liter, I think that might be a record high for gas. BC has the highest gasoline prices in all of North America, and pretty much it's gone up all across Canada. And they're highlighting some refineries that actually have shut down. I think a couple in the United States that are being retooled or whatever, that are shut down, and that's caused a problem. And then also the hurricanes out east have also caused basically some supply chain shortages. And in Alberta, the government several months ago had stopped our gasoline tax to help keep prices down, but that's supposed to be reintroduced. I believe that's 9 cents a liter. That's supposed to be reintroduced on Sunday, and the opposition is fighting hard to see if that can be delayed for another few months. It's expensive. People are reeling, and all of that suggests that I think we're probably in for several more interest rate hikes, as it's pretty much the only tool in the toolbox for the Bank of Canada to try to slow down inflation, other than simply waiting for supply chain shortages to get back to normal, and people just getting back to a bigger level of normalcy, and allowing that inflation rate to drop.
Sellers here.
There's your update.
So sellers here are pretty frustrated. They're not getting showings in 25 days. And it's with our interest rates, people are used to the 2.75% on a 30-year mortgage here. And that is, we're telling them, now interest rates are more around 6% for 30 years. And that is still an incredible deal. If you look at, several years ago, anything under 8% is amazing. So sellers are a little frustrated. Buyers are hesitant with the rate hikes. Some aren't qualified anymore with the rate hike, and affordability is a little bit tough. Our buyers were frustrated before too with the lack of supply. Well, now we've got a lot of supply, and they are not getting multiple offers and on the market for just 2 days. Now it's taking a little bit longer. So I just encourage, my clients to be patient before we list. And if they don't really need to list now, there's supposed to be some relief in the first quarter of 23. If they can wait, then that's great. For buyers, it is an amazing time, to purchase if you're cash. And we do have a lot of cash buyers in the Arizona area. A lot of Canadians that purchase down here will do a home equity line of credit and bring cash down. So it's a great time to get a great deal. My clients just closed on a property yesterday. They got $200,000 under ask price in the $1 million range. And so some fantastic deals if you've got the cash, or if you want to sell your investment property here and do a 1031 exchange, they call it, and get into something a little bit bigger. Now it's a great time for deals. So we're telling our sellers to pack their patience, listen to everything that I tell you and advise you. And I'm sure with you, I'm having one of the struggles I have here as an agent is we have so much TV and social media, and people watch HGTV and Selling Sunset and all this stuff, that everybody thinks they're an expert in real estate. So sometimes I find, they hire you as a professional, and we are, but really take heed to your realtor's advice. That's why you're hiring them. If they, tell you to do something in this tough market of selling, like, let's get her done. You have to put your best foot forward in order to get that property, get eyes on the property, and show as many people as possible. And we really have strategic marketing plans to sell your property. So, when we say it needs to be staged, it needs to be staged. So rather put your best foot forward than learning the lesson the hard way and thinking, oh, I should have listened to my agent, but we're 3 months down the road with 3 more mortgage payments. And, so it can be a frustrating process. So you're hiring a realtor as a professional. I think a lot of these TV shows think that people can do it themselves. And it's times like this is when expertise really comes into play. So, and different marketing strategies and setting that house up to be ready for showings.
I wholeheartly agree, obviously, and a few comments on that. Obviously, in our office, we talk a lot about we are service professionals. There's other service professionals such as lawyers and dentists and doctors, and you know, they've all got their different higher, you know, or different levels of education, but each of them has to deliver difficult news. I mean, ours is simply just, you know, what it's going to take to sell your house. You know, if you're, say, talking to a doctor, that might be a lot more serious because it could be about talking about your health. But I know that we talk in the office about the fact that a doctor might deliver some news in regards to, you need to stop smoking and you need to stop eating this and you need to stop drinking and you need to this. And those are heavy pieces of advice from a doctor. And even then people ignore it.
Well, and some people might get a second. Some people in the medical profession might get a second opinion, but I'd like to point out, when you get a second opinion in real estate, that can be really confusing because we work on commission. So we can't control whether you talk to your brother's friend's cousin's second whatever aunt who has their license, if they're trying to get business or not. So it's just really confusing when you have too many chefs in the kitchen, especially if you have a doctor, your doctor's going to get paid for that appointment. If you go get a second opinion, that doctor is going to get paid for that appointment. Yeah. That is more feasible than getting a bunch of different opinions from people who are working on commission, who might not are looking to get your business rather than what's best for you. So it's easy to say, oh, that person doesn't know or whatever. You know, interview agents, interview at least 3 different people. Go with who you're most comfortable with and you like and has a great marketing plan. And then don't sway from that when things start getting tough, as there's more days on market, and you get frustrated. You have to be patient and just let the system go. We have to rely on the market and its ebbs and flows, and you have to ride that wave. So.
Well, and we've been there. We were sellers years ago when we bought this house, the house that we sold. It was a good market for sellers, and we had the house listed for, I think, 48 hours, and it hadn't sold yet. We had tons of people through it, but we didn't have an offer yet, and we lost our minds. We were like, why hasn't anyone put an offer in yet? And we're like, is this ever going to sell? We were 2 days in, so we've been on that side. Like, we know what it's like when you're selling your house and it doesn't sell right away, right? The frustration level and how you're like, I just want it to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly what you're saying. You got to stick to your plan. I think it was the next day we got an offer and it was sold. Mm-hmm. So you just got to stick with your plan. Like you said, you know, develop all the things that you can do to help it sell well, to make it more attractive, anything like that you can do, and then follow that plan to get it sold and stick with it. It'll happen.
Yeah. And especially comparing this market is different. We've switched. We're completely different. So it's a completely different strategy than here. What a popular thing is because there were so many showings that agents would kind of create excitement by just, I mean, I didn't agree with this at all. I don't think it's the best thing to do for your seller, but they would hold an open house just for 3 hours. So there would be lineups. And there's a company here that wants to do it. And they played on human nature, like, oh, this house, we want it. We want it. Look how many other people want it. But really, are they getting the best deal for their client? You hold it open one day for 3 hours. You tell your sellers, you know, hey, you're not going to be bothered. We're only going to hold it open this time. But then look at all the other buyers that may have been more qualified, would have offered more money, are out in the cold. So I don't like that strategy. It's been successful here because people are like, but I tell people, so you don't want to be inconvenienced, but you want to lose $20,000, like be inconvenienced for $20,000 more profit. Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah, that's a good inconvenience.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, all great thoughts and advice there, Diane. I wholeheartedly agree with you. And we work with investors and we love investors. Mm-hmm. I think the investment community sometimes cannot necessarily be as fair to potential sellers as they could be as well. You know, you'll see the letters being delivered, and you know, in big bold letters, we are not realtors. You know, presenting it like realtors are bad people in general to talk to. And I would caution people, you know, certainly listen to that investor. And again, I appreciate investors and love it. And we've gone direct as investors as well. At the same time, I think it's also important to have that conversation with a couple of real estate agents to get their opinions on it and round that out with the person that's attempting to try and and purchase your property privately, because one thing that every seller needs to appreciate is that every investor is only going to buy that property with the intention of making a profit. And sometimes it works for them and it's absolutely a good move for them. But I think that should be balanced off with a conversation with a couple of real estate agents who might have a different perspective as to what they should do. And I think that's ultimately the best thing a seller could hope for, is that somebody sits down with them, and especially if it's more than one person, that does deliver a couple of options for them, and comes from the position of truly trying to help them, and not necessarily being there to see if they can simply either sell the property quickly so that they can make a commission if they're a real estate agent, or try to get the property at the lowest wholesale price possible so that they can simply turn around and either flip it or put it out to their database to try to make a quick buck on a wholesale deal.
Yeah. And a lot of my sellers, like I have a seller that's pretty frustrated, with the market switching, and was like, well, I just might as well sell it to an investor. Well, you're losing money. We can drop the price as well as realtors. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yes.
And I don't know if they allow this in Canada, but my clients, I'll list a property and my clients get hammered with investors calling, stalking, knocking on doors. It's just bananas.
This is after they've listed with you?
After they've listed. So here, if you're a real estate agent, it's unethical to contact me. So a lot of investors will not get their real estate license just because they can, go direct to the client. So it's crazy. It makes it confusing for the seller. It's just a matter of keeping on top of it, having good communication with your seller, saying, who are these people? Because then I call them and threaten them. I'm kidding. No, I have done that, but stay away from my client.
Putting the boxing gloves on.
Yeah. Any time that you sell to, a party, they are lowballing you. That's it. I can promise you are leaving money on the table, because they are taking into account the profit that they're going to make when they flip your home. So as a seller, if you want the most, your best way to do it is through an agent and not direct, because you have absolutely no protection.
Yeah, which again comes back to ultimately just having those options. I do know one gentleman that works in town. And before I get to that, I will say that in our service agreements, and maybe it's in yours as well, but it's just the sellers. I'll just say what happens in Alberta, and that's it. It's in the agreement and said, look, there could be the possibility that somebody knocks on your door, and basically you are simply to say, you can see the lawn sign on the front of my house. That's the person you need to talk to if you want to be looking at making a transaction on my property. And I'd say that it probably does happen, but it's very, very slim to none with any of the listings that I've had over the years, where they'll say, oh yeah, I actually happen to have somebody knock on my door directly. More times than not, they're phoning the realtor directly and having a conversation with them.
You're all nice up there.
We are Canadian.
Yeah.
It's the Canada way.
We are Canadian, yes.
Yeah. Here it can get pretty crazy. Not that they're not allowed to do it. Some people aren't. We have another company that's a wholesaling company that, will turn around and sell your property and buy yours for cash. And even when you have listed, they do hold real estate license, and they are not allowed to do that, but they do. And then all they get away with it by saying on their marketing materials is, oh, if you're blah, 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 we'll give you this much. And in small print, it says, oh, if you have a realtor, this is not a solicitation. And they're
we had our Mogul mastermind a couple of days ago, and it was we talked about this last time we were on agreements for sale, which is wraparound mortgages down there. And there was a story brought up about somebody doing a direct private sale with somebody, and she actually could have gone to a couple of real estate agents, and she could have sold it to some other investors. And in all of those situations, the story went on Wednesday that lady knew and understood she actually could have sold the property a little bit higher, either through a realtor or through a couple of other investors. And why was it that she chose this person to sell, and I think it was pretty substantial, like $20,000 or $25,000. And the response was, "You're the only person that actually listened to me. You're the only person that treated me with respect. You're the only person that actually gave me some legitimate options." And so that $20,000 or $25,000 is not as relevant as just understanding that I'm dealing with somebody that is treating me well. And I think that really resonated on Wednesday, and it was something that obviously has stuck with me. And I think that that's something that just people need to keep an eye out and remember, is that this isn't something that they should feel forced into doing. They should find somebody that they can trust and deliver legitimate options. Maybe it would be a good idea to sell it directly, privately. I mean, there's all sorts of different reasons why. There's definitely some ease in regards to doing that because you're staring at a buyer right there. But on the other hand, if maximizing your profits and all sorts of things come into play, and also understanding that you really are hiring a service professional that is going to do all the work for you, which is a real estate agent, and that's a huge benefit for a lot of people. In a lot of times, that's the best direction to go. But it was a very impactful story and one I wanted to share.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know you got to get going here, Devin. So I'd like to say too, a lot of people with real estate agents, if the transaction goes smooth, there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you have absolutely no idea, that it seems really easy, but it also, you need your agent when there are problems, and there can be a ton of problems that you need to be protected from, that you just aren't aware of if the transaction goes smoothly. If the transaction goes smoothly, there's a lot of people behind the scenes making that happen. So if there's a problem, then you definitely need a real estate agent. But there is, just because it seems easy, like it was this, there's a lot of work and a lot of expertise that goes into making that transaction easy.
Saw another article just the other day, and I even was surprised by this number, but he said that you can expect, when you think about lawyers and you think about the inspector and all that stuff, that there is upwards of 200 different activities that happen in a real estate transaction.
Easily.
Yeah, and so when you think about all of that,
that's one where it doesn't go wrong, like where it just goes smoothly.
Yeah, that's right. And so thinking about all of that stuff, and that's definitely, again, coming back to, having that conversation ultimately with a real estate agent to just understand, do you understand all these moving parts, and do you understand all of the things that you need to do, and all of the different people? I still every now and then come across somebody. I mean, we're always taking people through the process as much as possible, and as you're walking through and saying, and then we remove conditions, and then it moves on to the lawyer. And lawyer, what do I need a lawyer for? I'm hiring you to sell my house. And it's like, wow. And of course, we use lawyers up here. You use I can't remember what you use down there. What are they called again?
Title companies.
Title companies.
So the escrow officer kind of is like a paralegal. So they're the ones, the neutral party that handle the funds and get the taxes prorated, the HOA, homeowners association dues, they're called down here. I think you guys call them strata or condo fees.
Strata, condo fees, kind of depends on the province.
Yeah. So they arrange all that. So that's what we use down here.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we do have to get running. So Diane, if anyone watching the show today has any questions, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure. And I'd like to point out to everyone that I'm a dual citizen. I was actually born in Edmonton as well. And I'm practicing real estate down in Arizona. And I've been here for about 25 years. I moved here when I was 5. So my email is can'tremember@gmail.com. My phone number is 602-620-2277. That'll be down in the notes as well, as long with your information, Devin.
Yes, Devin Gray, Mogul Realty Group in DXP. Cell number is 780-951-9279. And my email is Devin, DEVIN, @mogulrg.com.
And right now is a great time for real estate investing because there's deals to be had in Alberta, down in Arizona as well. But then also right now, Edmonton weather's turning temperatures. So just for people wanting to buy houses to live in Arizona, it's a good time to reach out. So rewatch the video if you need more information or get a hold of these guys. We'll also be back next week too. This is Alberta to Arizona. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week. Bye.